All the handles are mismatched, they even differ slightly in color. I've had cases where you could hear the scraping of this aluminum rod inside the groove. Yes, it's a bit of a hassle, but you have to do it to make it look cool. Hey guys, hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about hardware, specifically STAC hardware. This is Spanish hardware which is sold by the company Mesenberg. There's also Thermo Alliance, maybe someone else sells it too, I'm not exactly sure. I get mine from Mesenberg. I'll tell you why I work with this hardware here and what its advantages are. The first and probably the coolest advantage is the handle design, because only STAC hardware offers handles for windows, handles for doors. The door handle is called Gamma, I think the window one is Alpha. For sliding systems, it's minimalist, all in the same design. It's incredibly cool when you have the same handle everywhere, and it's quite beautiful in a factory black finish. You have the same handle on the window, a lever handle on the door, and on the sliding door it's elongated but in the same design. It's incredibly cool. All clients love this. For the sliding system, this handle is as minimalist as it gets. So all these handles are without a rosette, and on the sliding system the handle is installed just like on the window, without a rosette, so there isn't that large base. In my opinion, these are simply the coolest handles. I haven't found anything better. I looked for other alternative options. I couldn't find a single hardware manufacturer that offered the same handle design for all three products: door, window, and sliding door. That's why clients really like these handles. They look similar to Schuco handles, yes, and they really do look great on the window. That's why we use these handles. That's the first advantage. The second advantage is that all the STAC hardware is black, specifically the visible elements. The hinges, yes, they're not black, but the gearbox that connects to the handle and the corner switches that are visible when you open the sash, they're all black. And with it, we use a polyamide rod. So you end up with a black polyamide rod, meaning a black handle of the same design, black hardware with a black polyamide rod. And when you open the window, you really see a premium, high-quality product. If the window itself is also black or some other dark color, then it looks really cool, in my opinion. If we're talking about Alutech, for example, and the Roto system and hardware they offer, the first thing I don't like is that, in my opinion, the Roto handle doesn't look good on the window. The design is just not there. It's terrible. I don't like it. As for the lever sets on the doors, they have a completely separate design from Dublin. For the sliding system, their handle is some kind of Hautau or Dublin, completely different designs altogether. In other words, all the handles are mismatched and even the colors are slightly different. That's the first point. The second point is that none of the hardware is black. It's all this sort of metallic color, the hardware rod. A polyamide rod can't be used with Roto because their whole diameter is large, about 10 millimeters, I think, which is punched into the rod, and as a result, the distance from the edge of the rod to the hole is very small. And when operating the hardware, there have been cases, which hardware manufacturers warn about, that the rod can tear and slip off the hardware if a polyamide rod is used. Accordingly, with Roto, you have to use an aluminum rod. They have a system-specific Roto aluminum rod for this purpose. As a result, you end up with different handles in various designs and in different color shades. Then, when you open the window, you see metal hardware along with an aluminum rod, which isn't even the color of the hardware. It's just the natural aluminum color, and you can't paint it or anything. So, in my opinion, all of this looks cheap and unattractive. Another thing I don't like, for example, is that I've had cases where you could hear the scraping of this aluminum rod inside the groove. Aluminum rubbing against aluminum creates noise as a result. A polyamide rod, on the other hand, is made of plastic, and when it moves inside the hardware groove, in my opinion, it reduces the strain on the hardware and moves more smoothly. Secondly, it doesn't create any additional noise or anything like that. As for the hinge part, I always pay attention to the weight of the sash. We always use stucco handles, and for sliding systems, the hardware itself, like the rollers and so on, is all internal. For example, I buy these from Alutech because it's more convenient for me, so I get the complete Hautau sliding system from Alutech, but I still use stucco handles with it. For windows, I use all STAC components. For doors, I get separate locks and so on, and I use STAC lever sets. And STAC also has a cover for the profile cylinder, a small one, really cool, also very minimalist. As for the hinge part on the window, like a regular window, whether it's turn only or tilt and turn, unfortunately STAC only has hinges rated up to 100 kilograms. So if my sash weighs more than 100 kilograms, I just mix and match and use different hinges. For example, now Mesenberg has brought in Strox hinges under the Strox brand. These are Chinese hinges that can handle weights up to 130 or even 150 kilograms. they can support more. You can use those, or you can use FAPIM hinges. I use FAPIM. They can actually handle up to 180 kilograms. Roto also has options that can handle up to 180 kilograms. So you can use Sigenia as well. Basically, you can buy any hinge from any manufacturer with those additional interhinge catches. And then for the part where the handle is, the gearbox, corner drives, and rods, you can get all of that from STAC. You can use everything from STAC. Yes, it's a bit of a hassle, but you have to do it if you want it to look cool. That's it. So that's why I use all of this, and you can do it however you like. I decided to make this video because a lot of people have started asking me about all this. I wanted to share this information. That's it. If you're interested, leave a like, write a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Bye everyone.